This is lesson 6, writing linear equations. We're going to take a closer look at the three forms of linear equations, which are slope-intercept form, point-slope form, and standard form. And point-slope form is probably going to be the newest one to us at this point. But our goal here is to write equations in slope-intercept form, which is the y equals mx plus b. We're going to talk about some different scenarios we might need to write them in, such as a scenario where you're given a slope and a y-intercept, a scenario where you're given a slope and another point, and a scenario where you're just given 2 points and you want to be able to write the equation of the line through them. So this page 29 in your notes is basically just a reference page reminding us that slope-intercept form needs two values. It needs the slope, also called the rate of change, or that ratio of rise to run. It needs that number placed as the coefficient on the x term. And it needs a starting value, or your y-intercept, or what is your y value when the x is 0. Right, all of that is summarized here on this page. But basically, I'm trying to find those two numbers. So we'll come back to this reference page, but right now I want to go to page 30 and just do a few of these together so we can see what it looks like. So turning your notes to page 30, it's asking you to write the equation of a line that passes through 2 points. Right, so I have the coordinate point -2, 5, and the coordinate point 2, -1. And your first job is to calculate the slope between those 2 points. Slope using that formula of subtracting the y's over subtracting the x's. So remember, each coordinate point is xy, xy. I'm going to subtract my y values on top. So 5 minus a -1. And I'm going to subtract my x values on the bottom. So -2 minus 2. In this case, that should result in 6 divided by -4, simplifying to -3/2. Pause the video and check that. Make sure you're comfortable finding slope. So now I have a slope of -3/2. Right? That is one of the two numbers I need to write slope-intercept form. Now, neither of those points is on the y-axis, so neither one is my y-intercept. So I'm going to use this new equation. This is called point-slope form because it basically involves 1 point and the slope. So this m is the same m we've been using before, right? This m value is going to go right in there. And we also need a point or a solution to the line. And we happen to have 2 of them, so we can use either point here. And let's just go ahead and use the first point. We had -2, 5. I can use either one, but let's try this one. This will be my x1, y1. Right? So x1, I'm going to go back to this equation. I'm going to write it out. Y minus y1, right? The y coordinate from the point that I know is a solution is 5. So y minus 5 is equal to, I'm going to use the slope I already calculated between these 2 points, which is -3/2. Parentheses, and then I have x minus the x value. The x value being a -2 in this case. So be careful when you have that subtracting a negative. Your best plan is just to turn that right into a plus sign right there. Simplify it. 1 sign's better than 2. I want to write it in point slope form, so I am going to try to get the y alone. So my next move is to get rid of these parentheses, right? I don't really want that. And we know that to get rid of parentheses, we're going to need to distribute a value that's right beside the parentheses. When I distribute, this becomes -3/2 times x. So there's my slope next to my x coordinate. And I need to do, let's go over here to the side a little bit. We've got fractions, but we can handle this. -3/2 is being multiplied by 2. Or 2/1. Right? Remember, any whole number can be written as a fraction. And when you multiply fractions, you just multiply across top and bottom. We get -6/2, which simplifies to -3. So there I can put my -3 right there. And we still had a y -5 on this side of the equation. So all I did there was distribute the slope across the parentheses. And again, I'm trying to get y alone. So I'm going to come back here and notice that I now need to add 5. Let's not go green. Let's see. Let's go blue. We're going to add 5 here to get the y alone on the left side of the equation. And I'm going to add it to the constant on the other side, leaving me with y equals -3/2 x plus 2. And that would be my equation in slope-intercept form. And that line would connect the 2 points, -2, 5, and 2, -1. I'd like you to pause the video right now and try the U-try problem that follows. Hopefully you paused and tried this one on your own. I'll go through it here for you. Our first step was to calculate a slope. So I have my 2 points. I'm going to subtract my y's. -2 minus 4. Remember, you could have done this different, so just check and see if you get the same answer. And the x's, 1 minus a -5. Should get a -6 divided by a +6, or a slope of -1 there. And then I always like to write this equation out. Just the more you write it, the more familiar it becomes. Let's do it in black, right? Point slope form, y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Right? I'm just going to pick one of these 2 points. And again, you could have picked the other points, so just wait and see if yours comes out and matches mine. I'm going to choose this point, so that my x1 will be -5 and my y1 will be 4. Okay, if you pick the other point, don't worry, just wait and see if it comes out the same. So I'm going to substitute in the m, the x1, and the y1. Let's go blue. So y minus my y1 is 4 equals, my slope came out at -1, and x minus, I'm going to subtract, my x is -5. When I subtract a -5, this is going to turn into a +5. Right, simplify it to one sign. Then next step is to distribute to get rid of parentheses. I'm going to have y minus 4 equals -1x. And -1 times 5 makes it -5. Last move, I'm going to add my 4 over to this constant and end up with the equation y equals -1x. -5 plus 4 is -1. So I'm looking at the equation y equals -1x plus 1. Alright, so this first video is going to just go through those 2 examples on using point slope form to write the equation of the line. I'm going to make a second video for the practice that follows. So I would suggest trying some on your own, thinking it through, and then coming back and seeing how I did it if you need that support. So check out the practice section in the next video.